Hello viewers, I'm your host Uzma Jafri with another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show with India, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted Israeli Prime Minister and his friend Benjamin Netanyahu for 6 days. Both leaders reviewed the entire gamut of the bilateral ties, including the increasingly growing economic and defense partnership, which has strengthened in recent history. A report.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was greeted with a bear hug by his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi after he landed in the capital, New Delhi. The meeting comes in the backdrop of the celebration of 25 years of Indo-Israel diplomatic partnership. The two countries have grown closer since Modi took office in 2014, widening commercial cooperation beyond their long-lasting defense ties. Modi became the first sitting Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel last summer. Netanyahu, who was accompanied by a 130-member delegation drawn from cyber, agriculture and defense sectors, emphasized that the innovation Israel companies have brought in the market and urged Modi to expedite talks on trade and investment.
But one of the things that Israel brings to this world of innovation is that we achieve more with less. More crops with less water. More energy with less expenditure of money. More with less. We want more, a lot more, and we can do that even more productively by cooperating.
Israel and India signed 9 agreements and memoranda of understanding, which included cybersecurity cooperation, MOU on petroleum and natural gas, air transport, film co-production, cooperation in fields of homeopathy, science and technology, memorandum of investment, cooperation in areas of metal-air batteries, and cooperation in concentrated solar thermal technologies.
We're talking about cooperation in science and technology in every field, and we're talking about cooperation in defense so that our people are always safe and always secure. Indians and Israelis know too well the pain of terrorist attacks. We remember the horrific savagery in Mumbai. We grit our teeth. We fight back. We never give in.
Netanyahu, who has also been pitching for deeper political, business and cultural ties, asserted that Israel has a deep and abiding respect for India, its people and its culture across the globe. While attending Indo-Israel Business Summit, Netanyahu termed his country's partnership with India as one made in heaven, which rests on shared values of love for humanity, democracy and freedom. While lauding the work done by PM Modi, Netanyahu said both countries could achieve greater heights by working together.
What we can do together is shape the future. It's not something that I say offhand. I believe in India deeply. I believe in India because I know your heritage, your culture, your ingenuity, your creativity, your humanity, your passion, which is exemplified by Prime Minister Modi to change the world for the better. We are your partners. And I came here to say today, Prime Minister Modi, thank you for believing in Israel the way we believe in India.
After the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries in 1992, civilian bilateral trade has grown to about $5 billion per year. And with the proposed free trade agreement in the pipeline, this is expected to grow more than double in the near future.
The two sides have certainly embraced a closer relationship based on security and economics. We have Mr. Rahul Jalali, a senior journalist and an expert on India's foreign policy with us, who will tell us more about the significance of Netanyahu's visit. Mr. Jalali, how significant, according to you, is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to India?
Well, it's quite important because the kind of closer ties which are happening between India and Israel, his visit is a reflection of that, and the manner in which the Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, greeted him, went to the airport, suggests that India is placing huge onus on this ties with Israel, and it will also translate into deals.
A wide spectrum of agreements, including agriculture and co-production in filmmaking and cybersecurity, has been signed between two countries. Do you believe the relationship, which was earlier prospering on defense and security ties, is further going to be strengthened now?
Well, I hope it happens because they have entered into a new zone, which is cybersecurity. Agriculture, defense are ongoing relationships between these two countries. But the area where they both have to move together is in terms of technologies, and especially technologies in software, in international, internet, at the internet level, also in technologies relating to advanced techniques in the manufacturing sector. This is where the new look has to happen for the two countries to boost their mutual trade.
Thank you, Mr. Jalali. Now we take you to Pakistan, where anti-state sentiments are growing amid mounting human rights abuses. In Sindh Province, people are rallying on roads to condemn atrocities by security forces and are demanding independence from Pakistan's clutches. We have a report.
Down with Pakistan and We Want Freedom slogans echoed on the streets of San, a small town located in Jamshoro district of Pakistan's Sindh Province. The event on the 114th birth anniversary of G.M. Syed, a Sindhi political leader, was organized by J. Sindh Muttahida Mehez. The protesters raised demands for freedom of Sindh from Pakistani occupation, the abolition of human rights abuses and end of religious fundamentalism.
हम क्या चाहते हैं? मजदूर भी मांगे, मजदूर भी मांगे, तुम्हें देनी पड़ेगी.
Slogans opposing multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan economic corridor were also raised during the protest rally.
पाकिस्तान इस वक्त कौमों का कैद खाना है सिवाय पंजाब के, क्योंकि आर्मी पंजाब से बिलोंग करती है, ब्यूरोक्रेसी उनकी है, इस्लाम आइडियोलॉजिकली वो यूज़ करते हैं अगेंस्ट सिंध, अगेंस्ट बलूचिस्तान, जो तारीखी कौम है उनके ख़िलाफ़. सो सिंध में इस वक्त जो मूवमेंट है वो एंटी पाकिस्तान है.
The voice against Pakistan's unfair policies in Sindh was also reverberated in Washington, D.C. A group of Muhajirs in the US have launched a Free Karachi campaign to highlight the alleged state-sponsored atrocities against their community in the post-city of Pakistan. Displaying #Free Karachi banners, the taxis took part in the historic Martin Luther Parade to raise awareness on state-sponsored atrocities against Muhajirs and other ethnic communities and minorities in Karachi city.
ये कराची जो पाकिस्तान को 70% टैक्सेस देता है, जो पाकिस्तान की इकोनॉमी को रन करता है, जहां के लोगों ने पाकिस्तान को बिल्ड किया, आज उसके लोगों को ना कराची की पुलिस में लिया जाता है. पाकिस्तान की पुलिस में छोड़ दीजिए, कराची की अपनी पुलिस में आपको कोई महाजिर उर्दू बोलने वाला नहीं मिलेगा. लॉ इन्फोर्समेंट एजेंसीज में महाजिरों को नहीं लिया जाता, फौज में नहीं लिया जाता, रेंजर्स में नहीं लिया जाता, किसी फेडरल गवर्नमेंट के इंस्टीट्यूशन में नहीं लिया जाता, प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट में महाजिरों को नहीं लिया जाता. आज सिचुएशन ये है कि कराची का मेयर कराची में ट्रैश की कलेक्शन का कंट्रोल भी उसके पास नहीं है. सारी पावर या तो फेडरल गवर्नमेंट के पास है, या आर्मी के पास है, या प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट के पास है.
Not only Sindh, the rest of the provinces in Pakistan are witnessing an outrage over the state policies and gross human rights violations by the law enforcement agencies. The situation is grimmer in federally administered tribal areas, Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, where the indigenous people demand freedom as they are denied equal rights. Free hand to terrorists and increase in target killings, kidnappings and attacks on civil rights activists and journalists across Pakistan are a major cause of worry.
The international community has also expressed its concern over the growing mistrust among people in Pakistan. Moving on, the war-torn country of Afghanistan received major news of encouragement when India decided to host Afghanistan cricket team for its maiden test match in city of Bengaluru. The single test match series has been scheduled 15 days after the Indian Premier League gets over. A report.
just gentle swing.
The Afghanistan cricket team is set to play the first test match against the current world number 1 India at Bengaluru's Chinnaswamy Stadium from June 14 to 18th. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, and the Afghanistan Cricket Board confirmed the news, saying that this will give a boost to the players who have performed exceedingly well in the latest history of cricket. Delighted Afghan cricket representatives say that they are going to work even harder from here on to become a better side.
Every single day, cricket has given us a real good news and happiness in the smile in the faces of Afghans. So obtaining the test status was big news, and full membership was celebrated largely in every single province of the country. We had a national celebration day as well, and similarly the news which came that Afghanistan will be playing its first test match with India in India was also celebrated on the same fashion that we celebrated our full membership and test status. So it's a huge development in our cricket, and it has changed the entire face of the cricket in the country.
India has played an instrumental role in the growth story of Afghanistan, and it says it will continue to do so, as Afghanistan is also India's long-term friend.
BCCI ने कभी hesitate नहीं किया, including extending to them infrastructural support, plus every other kind of support. We'll continue to do that.
Afghanistan and Ireland joined the ranks of full member nations of the International Cricket Council last June, taking the total number of test-playing countries to 12. Afghanistan were one of the most formidable associate nations in the cricket before getting into this club. Afghanistan's side has been consistently performing at the international platform, as they created a record T20 winning streaks with 10 successive victories in the time frame of March 2016 to March 2017. 13 Afghan players have registered themselves for IPL auction this year, which will take place on January 27th and January 28th. The series as of now will be called the India-Afghanistan Friendship Series.
India has always extended a helping hand to Afghanistan, irrespective of the political or the non-political shade of the issue. Earlier in 2015, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, had signed an agreement with Afghanistan Cricket Board permitting the use of the Shahid Vijay Singh Pathak Sports Complex in Noida as the home ground for Afghanistan cricket team. Moving on to Bangladesh, where over 750,000 Rohingya refugees took shelter in the month of August following a military crackdown in the western Rakhine state of Myanmar. After months of diplomatic tussle between Bangladesh and Myanmar, the Naypyidaw leadership has finally decided to take back its citizens through a systematic exercise. A report.
After months of denial and inflexibility of Naypyidaw, the foreign ministries of both Bangladesh and Myanmar reached a consensus of repatriating 650,000 Rohingyas in a period of next 2 years. As per the government and the statement issued by the concerned ministries of both the countries, Bangladesh would set up 5 transit camps on its side of the border, and those camps would further send Rohingyas to 2 reception centers in Myanmar. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, who has repeatedly condemned the violence, expressed his concern over the Rohingya repatriation.
We believe it would be very important to have UNHCR fully involved in the operation to guarantee that the operation abides by international standards. What is it that is essential on these? Is to make sure that the return is voluntary, it's in safety and dignity, and that people are allowed to come back to their places of origin, which means that a huge effort of investment, because there is a lot of reconstruction to be done, and a huge effort of reconciliation is needed to allow it to take place properly. The worst would be to move these people from camps in Bangladesh to camps in Myanmar, keeping an artificial situation for a long time and not allowing for them to regain their normal lives.
Hundreds of thousands of Rohingya refugees have been reeling under fraught weather conditions in the sprawling camps of Cox's Bazar since they were forced to leave their homes in the Rakhine.
It's an issue in which UNHCR is pleased to see that dialogue is occurring between the two states, between Myanmar and Bangladesh. And we are quite keen to offer our technical support, our good offices to the two governments to ensure that a framework is established whereby the refugees' voice is heard, their concerns are heard, and they are able to return only in conditions that are voluntary, that are safe, and in which they have dignity. Three things that the refugees have emphasized to us in our discussions here at the field level in the refugee camps is that there are essentially three preconditions for them, the refugees, to be comfortable returning. The first thing is they need to see a resolution to their legal status, the issue of citizenship. The second thing is there needs to be an environment that is safe and secure for them to return to. And the third thing is there needs to be reconstruction and development efforts so they have an environment to return back to in which they can enjoy their full rights.
The crisis erupted after Rohingya insurgent attacks on security posts on August 25th in Rakhine triggered a fierce military response that the United Nations denounced as ethnic cleansing. The military denies ethnic cleansing, saying its security forces mounted legitimate counter-insurgency clearance operations. These refugees say they are ready to return provided they are given the citizenship rights and a fair and equal treatment is promised. However delightful it may sound, there's a palpable pain and anger amongst the refugees who will now have to return to the places they were thrown out of. The Nepal government will also have to play a crucial role in reaccommodating these homeless people.
Some organizations have termed it as a decision not taken in the interests of the distressed Rohingyas, but has come in the wake of the mounting international pressure over Naypyidaw. Moving on, now we take you to the Nuwakot district of Nepal, where the annual Bullfighting festival was celebrated by locals with great fervor. The traditional animal sport, which has been in existence for over 2 centuries, attracted a huge crowd to the event. A report.
The atmosphere was filled with festive fervor and thus hovered above the field as the age-old bullfighting festival commenced on Nuwakot on Monday. This festival is celebrated to worship God Vishnu, who is thanked for his efforts in making the days longer and warmer from the Magh month of the Nepali calendar. Elderly people say the bullfight was organized by the maternal uncle of King Che Prithvi Bahadur Singh of Bajang to entertain the latter. Since then, the locals of the Daruga village have continued this tradition. During the festival, the bulls used for tilling the land are set free to fight so as to entertain the people. The owners of the best bulls are also awarded. Though the economic crisis is hitting the farmers as well as bull owners badly, despite this, they want to keep the tradition alive.
1849 मा चाहिँ सन्धि भयो त्यही हिसाबले हामीले गोरु जुताउँदै त्यसलाई वीरताको गाथा गाएर घिउ चाकु खाएर चाहिँ यसलाई गोरु जुताउने कार्यक्रमलाई निरन्तर दिइरहेका छौं.
Although there are no historical facts on the provenance of such festival, the tradition is regarded as old as 150 years. Apart from the preservation of the traditional culture in the Himalayan nation with vivid cultural diversities, it also has been contributing towards tourism development in the area. Giving continuity to such tradition, the event is held every year.
This annual bull taming festival in Nepal is similar to that of the famous Jallikattu festival of India and the Spanish bullfight. Moving on to India, which is also called the land of farmers. The festival of Makar Sankranti, which marks the beginning of the harvest season in India, has its own significance across the country. Millions across India celebrated the festival in their own ways and customs with joy and enthusiasm. We have a report.
The festival of Makar Sankranti, known throughout India, is celebrated in different parts of the country with different names, but the significance of welcoming the harvest season was common across all communities. In Assam, Bhogali Bihu, also known as Magh Bihu, is celebrated during this time every year and observed with gaiety and reverence. Magh Bihu marks the completion of harvesting and heralds the coming of spring. Locals are immersed in the festive spirit. Fun and frolic accompanied with the purity and piousness form a distinctive feature of the festival. The festival begins the night before Magh Bihu, which is called Uruka, also known as the Day of Grand Feasts. Villagers make bamboo huts called Hilaghor or community kitchen and prepare lavish foods using sesame, molasses and coconut. It is a merriment time all across the region.
तिल पिठा, नारियल पिठा, पानी पिठा और तेल में बनाता है, उसको बार पिठा बोलता है, और नारियल का लाडू, तिल का लाडू, मूली का लाडू, सब कुछ हम लोग यहाँ अपना हाथ से बनाया.
Magh Bihu begins with the lighting of Meji, a bonfire made of bamboo and straw. The day also marks beginning of Magh month of Hindu almanac. Bihu is very much similar to Lodi, the harvest festival celebrated at the same time in northern India. People throw in pithas, delicacies made with rice, and betel nuts into the flames. People thank the fire god to mark the end of the harvest season and take back his blessing in the form of burnt woods and bamboo. In Tamil Nadu, Jallikattu, a traditional bull taming sport, is held as part of Pongal, a harvest festival. In Madurai, people came out in large numbers to take part in the sport. Garlanded bulls with vermilion marks on their heads ran amok and were chased by participants amid loud cheers by spectators. Thousands of people gathered to witness courageous men risking their lives as they tamed the decorated bull. In North India, the festival is celebrated as Lodi. Singing and dancing form a very important part for the festival. The families in North India dress up in bright clothes and dance to the tunes of Bhangra and Gidda with the beat of the Nagara or Dhol, and the youngsters light a bonfire and dance around it. The festival is dedicated to the Hindu sun god Lord Surya. The festival marks the beginning of a 6-month auspicious period for the Hindus known as Uttarayan period. Makar Sankranti is regarded as important for spiritual practices, and accordingly, people take a holy dip in rivers, especially Ganga, Yamuna, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. The bathing is believed to result in merit or absolution of past sins.
The Hindus also believe that the occasion of Makar Sankranti denotes the entry of the sun into the zodiac sign of Makar or Capricorn as it travels on its celestial path. With that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Take care and goodbye.